Hello, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and the PC has been fixed. Normal service on the channel has been resumed. I feel like I was putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, trying to sort of fix it myself, which probably made it worse, and going into the biometrics and trying to boot it up that way, but it just wasn't working. Turning it on, 3 beeps. He was saying the beeps mean stuff and stuff. The guy came today, 4:30, and fixed it. And that's a shout out to Raytech. David Rayburn, who's based in Northumbria, bloody good guy. Charged me 60 quid, but I give him 80 because he's really helped me out, and he was there for ages, tinkering around with it and stuff. Really good service, reasonable, reasonable stuff. I thought it was going to cost more than that, to be honest with you. So that's it, done. We don't have to make any videos on my phone anymore. We can just... And that's the first hiccup I've had with this PC in about fucking 5 years. He said, it's a good PC, there's a lot of good stuff in there, graphics card's really good, decent bit of RAM. He said, just give him a call if anything else goes wrong with it, but sorted, job done, boom. So with that said, let's talk about PlayStation not releasing any more single player games on PC. This news is not been officially confirmed by Sony, but a lot of people like Jason Schreier and other media outlets are reporting on that this is the way PlayStation's going to go. I think I said something like this in a previous video, that Sony was definitely going to counteract this whole like their games everywhere. You've got to think about it. The next Xbox, if it comes out, the next Xbox is rumoured to have Steam on there as well. You've got to remember as well that Steam are bringing out the Steam Box, which is their version of the console, the little cube thing. So Steam's going to be entering the living room space. I feel like they were always going to counteract that. You know, what's the point in having single-player PlayStation games available on PlayStation and Steam on rival hardware? You know, PlayStation games would release on PlayStation for a time, and then they would release them on PC. Get that get that revenue on the PlayStation sales first, and then get whatever other revenue they could on the PC. With Xbox going everywhere and having everything everywhere, releasing games on PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo Switch, it kind of makes sense that Sony's thinking about it's a business at the end of the day, and they have to think about selling consoles and shipping units and all this sort of carry on. So to think that they weren't ever going to try and block this or, try and change tactics. I mean, look at Microsoft. Microsoft changed tactics. They've pivoted because they had to, because they were fucking in a really shit place for 12 years under Phil Spencer. We've got this Asha Sharma coming in now. A lot of people, it's very vague. That interview she did with Jez Corden, I felt it was very vague, giving very open-ended answers, very vague, but obviously the people, the rabid influencers have jumped on the marketing, and they're banging to Asha Sharma's drum, saying that it's she might be able to turn Xbox around, and it's like it's too late for that. There's also reports that Xbox is being sunsetted, that it's being slowly laid to rest. I still don't think this new console is going to come out. I just have a gut feeling. I don't think it's going to happen. I can't see Xbox rolling back multi-platform. I can't see them turning around and being like, right, everything's going to stay on Xbox. They should do that. They should do that. I'm a big fan of exclusives. I like the fact that if you want to play a Mario game, you have to buy a Switch 2. If you want to play a Pokemon game, you have to buy a Switch 2. If you want to play a PlayStation game, you have to buy a PlayStation. It was the same back in the day with Nintendo and Sega. If you wanted to play Sonic, you bought a Mega Drive. If you want to play Mario, you bought a Nintendo. It's the same now. I don't think anything's really changed. We've got Resident Evil Requiem, which is a fantastic game, proving the fact that single-player games are still a thing. All these executives saying single-player games are dying out, it's all going to be live service. Live service games are, unless you've got a good one, most of them are shit. We've had Marathon, the playtest for Marathon, which I actually quite really enjoyed. Marathon. It took a while to get into it, but once it sort of started clicking, I was quite enjoying it. Now, I don't know if I'm going to pick it up because it's 40 quid. I know it's cheap. Still quite like Arc Raiders. Still play that quite a lot. I'd be open to playing Marathon. Maybe at the moment I'm kind of like a wait and see how it's received, how the reviews are. Some matches that I had on Marathon were really good. Some matches there wasn't a lot going on. Very empty world. Didn't really run into a lot of teams. But live service games like that from PlayStation are still going to be released on PC, Xbox, wherever. And that makes sense because it's an online game, But these single-player experiences like Last of Us Part 3, Wolverine, if you want to play them, you have to buy a PlayStation. And I just think it makes good business sense, And we're seeing people saying it's a bad idea, everything. The thing that annoys me about the Xbox side, not all of them, but there are some level-headed Xbox fans, but the ones that are just like, when Xbox says something, they all flock and change their opinion. You've had people that were championing this acquisition. Colt Eastwood put a suit on when the acquisition went through. You know, we've had Paris Lilly saying you don't spend $80 billion to keep everything everywhere, and they were championing exclusives. Finally, we're gonna have some games, and then everything started going everywhere, and it's like the narrative seemed to be, well, Xbox is doing it, therefore everyone must do it now, everyone has to do it. And I don't think that's the case. I think exclusives sell systems, exclusives matter, exclusives aren't going away anywhere. Nintendo haven't wavered from any kind of, you know, they've not put any single game on PC or PlayStation or anything like that. It's never going to happen. Xbox are the ones that have pivoted and had to drastically change their business strategy because they were fucking losing, you know, and had been losing for 12 years. No direction, mixed messaging, not really any sort of major, amazing banger games. And I genuinely don't think Xbox are going to turn around and be like, well, we're just going to make everything available on Xbox, and we're going to, all future Xbox games are just going to, you know, release on Xbox. They should, like I say, they should. I think they should. I would support them if they did do that. Xbox are just everywhere now, you know, absolutely everywhere, and I can't see them turning around and being like, oh no, we're not doing that anymore. Like I say, Xbox is in a very different position to Sony. They don't need to pivot, you know, they're the market leader, whatever you want to call them. They're absolutely smashing it, as is Nintendo. So it's just a bit of a circus on the internet, because you've got these people that'll just like, as soon as Xbox changes an opinion, their opinion changes as well, and it's like exclusives matter. Now they don't matter. Now they do matter, and it's just like, make your mind up. So I'm excited to see what happens. I always thought that Sony was going to counteract it. I think in a previous video I said they were either going to stop releasing games on PC, or they were going to come up with a PC app of their own with the PlayStation Store on there, and you buy the games through PlayStation on the PlayStation Store. And here we are. But it's a great time to be a gamer. There's a lot of good games coming out. Resident Evil Requiem, like I say, fantastic game. And we're just going to have to wait and see what this Asha Sharma does with Xbox. I genuinely think she's been brought in to kind of slow things down, and you know, these people are media trained as well, you've got to understand. But I just find the whole like Pied Piperness of it, and people just flocking and dancing to the tune of like whatever spin Xbox puts on, it's just a bit boring now. And it shows how fickle people are, and how, you know, they don't really have any conviction, because they're just changing with the wind, and their opinions are changing with the wind as well, you know. And it's been a tough time. I understand it's been a tough time to be an Xbox fan. You know, I feel bad for them, but there's got to be a point where they kind of think, you know, this possibly might be the end of this console and this fucking brand. I think they'll go to Microsoft Gaming. I think the best thing that they could do is just be a third-party publisher. Make amazing games and sell them everywhere. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's so good to have the PC fixed. And we'll see you again on the next video. Take care of yourselves. And, yeah, enjoy whatever you're playing.